Banished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the Intergalactic Space Arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. Welcome to Classic Game Room. What happens when you take a boring job and combine it with an interesting plot and make a game out of it? You get Papers, Please. Let's watch the review. Now. Love the music. The game is Papers, Please. An interesting game and one that I've had many requests to cover. It's a self-proclaimed dystopian document thriller. A game that, like a lot of indie games on PC these days, reminds me of an old-school 80s game. With simple, crisp, yet pleasing graphics, and a compelling storyline. Where you play as a border checkpoint officer in a 1980s fictional Cold War-era communist bloc country. A job that on the surface doesn't really sound all that exciting. A job that I would think you should get paid for, but in this case, you pay to play it. I think that I would describe this as a puzzle game, and it doesn't make the most exciting video review. There's not a lot of motion. But basically what you're doing is going over people's paperwork and deciding whether or not they should be admitted into your country. They'll need a passport, and in most cases, an entry permit. And you have to make sure all of the information checks out. When I describe it, frankly, it sounds terrible, but what makes it good is the storyline and the characters, because it's got a great sense of humor. But it's not a job I would be any good at, nor is it a game I'm any good at. In fact, I'm terrible. My family has starved numerous times. That's right, you're doing this horrible job for your family, to feed them, to keep them warm, and maybe provide them with some medicine if they get sick, which they all do. Ah, it's this guy again. The first couple days are pretty boring, just teaching you how to play the game, how to make sure everybody's name matches up, date of birth, and passport ID number. But then you start to get an interesting cast of characters that comes through your checkpoint. And the amount of paperwork damn near triples. Also, they keep changing the rules on you and just making it harder and harder and harder. This guy looks fine, sure, why not? Let him in. We'll just hit his visa with the approved stamp there, give him back his papers, enjoy your stay. See the sights, have some fun. After a while, you'll learn to dread that sound. I forgot to check the expiration date. Good job, me. If you can make it through a day, you're rewarded by not going to jail. I wonder if this would be fun at all for anyone who actually had to do this for a living during this time period. Like, think of the worst job you've ever had and then make a game out of it. I dread paperwork. I take every opportunity to avoid it in my life. And while I can't really say I enjoy the gameplay style here, I found this one hard to put down because the storyline is really very interesting. Like, strange things just start happening and your decisions affect the outcome of the game, and there's multiple endings. This whole thing reminds me of a PC game I would have played in 1987 with a better sense of humor. It's a difficult game, too. They'll change the spelling on these people's names and start issuing them from locations that don't exist, so you have to memorize the rulebook after a while. Papers, Please is a recipe for eye strain. Yet I can't really dissuade you from playing it because it's just an interesting game. This was sent to the show via Steam by my friend Slurp. Slurp. I'm not sure where Slurp is from, so we'll just put him in Atlantis. Which is right here, maybe. From what I'm told, you don't even need entry permits or a passport to enter Atlantis. All you need to do is find it. So have a good time reenacting one of the most boring jobs on Earth. Watch your family starve and enjoy Papers, Please.